Hello to anyone and everyone tuning in for the first time. My name's Aiden. This is Studio Raphael. Thanks so much for being here. I got inspired this morning to come online, to hop on, to hang out, chat a little bit. I'm honestly not gonna lie, still a little bit sleepy and kind of waking up from everything, but it's nice to be here. And I kind of designed the new thing on the outside, so I was a little, I don't know, I was getting excited to be here. It was just yesterday I was reflecting a little bit, and 1 second here. I guess I'm learning that, like, it's important for me to always be progressing and showing up, and how the stream looks and how it feels and how it is, advancing. If I kind of get too stuck and if I start to define myself and I get very stagnant about how the stream looks, what the stream is, eventually I'm going to burn out. I'm going to get tired. I'm going to feel like I'm not, when things aren't progressing anywhere, it just becomes very dull, very bland. So for me, I just, something, I looked at the stream yesterday. I've uploaded the last 3, and I looked at the stream on YouTube and I was like, this is nice, but it's still very in your face. And so I was kind of messing around with some shapes, and I like what I've put together here, more of a little something, and fine, just cause I'm feeling like it. Check this out as well. See? So you got 2 cool kind of alternating screens. I want to make more of them. I want it to be a fun space. This is a fun space. I can't want it to be a fun space. I have to make it a fun space. That is another deep truth realization that I've kind of had to face over the last while, is that you can want it all you want, but if it's something that you have to make, if you don't make it, then wanting it doesn't change the fact that at some point you're gonna have to be the one that steps into it. So we're making a fun space. I am Aiden. This is Studio Raphael. Thanks so much for tuning in. And yeah, no real plan for today. Once again, oh, text. It's okay. Just going with the flow. That is a big part of this for me, is just showing up and allowing the flow to take shape. It's every stream is kind of a creative process in and of itself. And I don't have perfect pitch. Before anyone starts telling me that I'm all out of tune, yeah, back to the other point. Basically, every stream is just becoming it's a process of showing up and being present. It's basically what I talked about in the start of the last stream too. That the main goal is just go with the flow of each, hour or so. And if I had to scale it down even more, I'd say be in the flow and be in the present of every moment. That's really the goal, right? Like, for me, absolute liberation is a feeling of being fully present, being fully in the moment. No outer attachment, nothing in the physical reality that has you constantly, pulling yourself towards it, whether it be money, whether it be, debt or substance or food or anything that has you waking up or living life in a way that you are fully drawn by your own desires, controlled by your desires rather than the controller of said desires. If you are being led and tempted by your desires rather than living a controlled, present, fulfilled life, then it's something to look at. Something to look at, like anything that you love, but it isn't necessarily good for you. You can kind of see that as a toxic relationship. You know, you can love something, but that doesn't make it good for you. And it's a hard truth to face. It's a hard space to be in. Why? Because, you know, nobody wants to let go of what they love. It's, you know, it's become something you love for a reason, but, you know, not everything we love is good for us. Just because we love chocolate and candy doesn't mean that chocolate and candy are good for us. Although, I don't know, personally, I'm not a big candy guy. I like chocolate a little bit more. It doesn't make it good for me. I don't know, some people like hard candies. Chewy hard candies is not really my thing, personally. Sugar in generally these days is just slowly moving away from sugar. It's just something about how much sugar tends to be in the average diet that I'm just like not about. But even like fruit juices. You get a fruit juice from the supermarket, right? How much extra sugar is in something like that? There's like 30 grams of sugar in a bottle of juice. Even in like a cup of juice, it's like 23 grams of sugar. Nuts. To me, that's crazy. To me, that's like a lot of sugar. So I'm working with a student at the moment, and yesterday we were teaching some chords. I was teaching her, it's like, you know that song that's like, it's called. So it was like, it's kind of cool. It's fun to be in a producing environment where there's a lot less pressure on me, simply due to the nature of kind of being more in a teaching environment, and also just kind of like working with a kid who's learning about all the stuff. Because it's actually like, I find that my creativity runs a little more freely when I'm in that sort of environment, instead of being in like a very intense creative environment where it's like, no, if you make an incorrect creative decision, you're fired and you are under scrutiny for everything that you do. It's a lot better to just be in a fun, free-flow creative environment. I'm enjoying that. The music's still playing. And yeah, so we're working on like a production of that track, which is cool. And actually what I can do, I could probably play it. Here, wait, check it. This is just, it's just a 4-bar loop. We made it in like 20 minutes basically. I think the guitars would need an edit, but I think it would be cool to like basically turn this into a song with her and then have her solo over top of it. as a production. But like the basic drum is there, you know? It's got different elements. It's interesting throughout. I actually think this is like the best drum loop I've made in a long time. But it's interesting how that happens, because it's probably the one that I put the least pressure on myself on. Which is also probably why it turned out so much better than a lot of my older ones. Is because usually when I'm creating, it's like there's so much pressure that I put on myself. But when I can just focus on the creative process and also just like have fun in it, then the ideas just flow easier. Creativity just becomes a much more fun process when there's less pressure on it. Music is overpowering your audio/voice. Well, I appreciate the feedback, Cosmos. It could just be that my voice is too quiet as well. But how about wait. Did it work? There you go. This is also... Wait, I can also turn it down. That might be better as well. This is something that I was working on with a student of mine. It's just like A minor, E minor with a capo, F, and D minor. But my capo's in my bag. But it was fun. I'm teaching her guitar, but like through the lens of music production. So that's something that we got to work on and make together. And then the goal is to, get her playing and get her creating. And my approach towards guitar is much less focus on the theory and the intensity of it, and more about the fun, you know? Greetings from California. How's the vibes? My man, the vibes are great. I'm in Vancouver, West Coast as well. Pleasure. Yeah, just kind of jamming out a little bit. MacGray, do you rap by any chance? And if you do, is it something you'd like to share? You don't have to. It is certainly a possibility. Just a general feeling. I just kind of had a maybe idea about it. Well, if you'd like to, there is, and I'm willing to share if you're down for an awful mix. Yeah, I mean, if you're down for some honest feedback, and, I can ignore the mix for what it is. I take into account the creative process and that things take time as well. So, yeah, man. You're welcome to share it in the Discord if you'd like. Or you can share it here as well. I'm not necessarily too picky as of right now, because, there's like 2, maybe 3 of us. I mean, why not? Gotta get my stuff heard, bite the bullet and whatnot. Give me a minute. Yeah, no worries, man. Take your time. And if it doesn't scare you at all, this also goes up on my YouTube. So, to the few people who are watching the streams at the moment, they'll also get a chance to listen to your music. So if there's anything else you want to start with, you're welcome to. Otherwise, trust your gut, trust your heart. That's the important thing. Join the disc, you seem nice. Thanks, man. You seem nice for somebody living in California. Whatever that means. I'm kidding. I'm sure there's plenty of great people in California that aren't narcissistic, Hollywood-driven fools. My cousin lives in California. There's plenty of great people. Next Life demo. Are you ready? Are you ready to start? Screen share. That's what we want. I'm ready when you are. It's less narcissism, more backstabbing bullshit. NorCal though. Wait, like that's in NorCal is where they're doing a lot of that. But yeah, it's I don't know. I don't play those games. That's why we're here, to make our own fun, creative environment. Run it. I'm not a pimp. I'm way too white to be a pimp. Actually, I don't know. Are most pimps white? I don't know. Sacramento specifically. Do I fuck a game? I'm not about it. I like the start. Compression on the bass.
To get better.
Spooky.
Every time that I see you, I fiend for you.
Let's see if I like the end. Alright.
Should get it together. Every rhyme that I spit is offbeat for you.
I would. I know you said the mix is rough, but I'm just giving you some mix ideas for when you get into it. I'd recommend taking a lot of the low end out of your voice, personally. And strengthen the delivery as well. Sell it a little more. Yeah, what is the scene in Sacramento? Coke.
Ain't no time for slow down. Keep it off the low now. Rock it till the set dies. Smoking on my demons, choking out the fiends. I see you in the next life.
Hey, 6 months clean. Congrats, man. The album's all about it. Well, hey, kudos to you. I've never really made the time to go out to California myself, but I've always kind of wanted to.
I'm wishing for better days, so spin me around like a record plays. I'm charting a course from the wetter waves.
Is this your voice as well? Both sides?
This is growth, metamorphosis and change. Keeping course will just lead to the dangerous tides. Keep anchors up high, I'm angering mine. So staggered rapping, I'll be spinning the wheel.
I did everything cool. Well, the beat and production is nice. Musical. Vibey. Can add more punch to your kick, probably. This would be a cool part to mix up vocal recording, and instead of putting it all down the middle, kind of maybe balance it out in the left and right. Layer your vocals a little bit.
Keep it off the low now. Rock it till the set dies. Smoking on my demons, joking at the fiends. I'll see you in the next life.
Production, cool. I'd find a way to ramp this part up a little more too. You got the nice arpeggiating guitar sound. This is cool. It could just be that because the drums feel a little weak. It kind of is lacking in that area at the moment.
Ain't no time for no bullshit. I spit rhymes like I'm preaching from pulpits. Pick up passion and catch it with full mitts. Mask on, culprit. Cast off all your past thoughts of who Cap was, cause I'm Mac now. Fuck up, Brennan, raise into 11, braise into the heavens, I won't back
it's like
down.
A Nicki Minaj kind of moment. Monster. It's a great song.
Numb to static, automatically engaging in truancy. Fuck the man in me. Taking the art that I miss in the media just to survive. I'm a phantom thief, taking the heart of the listeners. Dreamers, you down for the ride? I don't want to be another overdose. I don't want to be who I'm not inside. I don't want to be just dumb or comatose. Don't want to be a zombie alive.
How do I put it?
To bring up the cycle and fuck up a sentinel outside of the lines.
There's something.
I got the mental, the courage, the spine.
I wonder if EQs would kind of change what I'm hearing in the vocals, but I do also think it's a delivery thing. When it comes to delivery, I would say really try and define
This is Matt Gray.
define your words and make it a little more succinct. Like, add 50%, maybe 52. Even I wouldn't go 100%. I think 100% on top of your delivery would be too much. But like, there's a way to deliver flow, style in rap and all that most of the time when we're talking, it doesn't cut it. Like, my best way, I'm not really a rapper much, so let me do my best here. It's like, when you are talking, you're rapping and singing and going from the really define the syllables so that way I can really hear it and tone with the song instead of kind of allowing the voice to go and kind of flow into word in the next, and instead really make it more defined and musical. Like when you kind of get into the syllables, when you really dig into each syllable and deliver with that sort of intent, then it cuts through the music a little more, instead of when you are rapping and singing and every word kind of blends into the next, and then I kind of get lost and then I don't know where it's going, instead of feeling like the syllables are pushing and kind of supporting it with air inside of your belly, so that way it pushes the words out, and then I feel like everything is sort of flowing a little bit better. That's my freestyle rap for today. Try that out, because I think that would really help the delivery in it. If you can kind of like, if I go into it, can you hear what I mean here? Understood? Cool. I think that'll really help the vocal delivery, and then when you take out the low end in that as well, it'll push your voice nice up front and center. But I think like really cool lyrical delivery ideas, production underneath is solid, really push out those drums and make that kick pop if you can, and experiment with different sort of vocal layering techniques, because you've got a cool voice. Like you've got that sort of what's his name, the freestyle rapper that people really like, freestyle rapper, white guy, what's his name? Harry Mack. Like, I think he's probably a good guy. You've probably heard him before. Taking this to a nice studio once I finish more tracks at 14, gonna be real nice. That'll be cool. I'm definitely interested to hear more. But do you know Harry Mack? You're not Harry Mack, but you got Mac in your name. What's so funny? It's just, he's got that dude's talent, but like,
it's Harry Mack. When it comes to rhymes, I'm a beast. Indeed, when I spit it, you know I have to think first. My dude standing out, black jeans and pink shirt. Hey, yo, I see it.
He has a way to like really intonate each phrase, each word, that adds to the musical element of the way things flow. And I think that's just kind of, if you're able to dig into that a little more, you know, it's only talent by virtue of practice as well. Like it's not something that no one else can do. I'm not saying that people can do it like Harry Mack does it, but kind of, you know, having a signature flow and a signature style is something everyone is capable of. And now selling it. Also, with that, reminded me a little of, I don't know if you know, do you know who Open Mike Eagle is? All right, understood. Thanks for the feedback. No problem. I'm happy to. If you know Open Mike Eagle as well, he might be someone you'd be interested in listening in, just because he has that, which song, 95 Radios. He has a bit of a more pulled back vocal,
okay, squad,
but he does a good job of mixing it into the music, so you don't feel like his words are getting too lost. Oh, Mike Eagle's ledger. Okay, yeah, so you get it. Like, getting some work done. Enjoy the rest of your day. Look for some again when it's done. Well, Matt Gray, man, thanks for popping by. And yeah, good luck with the future ventures. Hopefully we'll see you around soon.
Pointed at the window frame, trying to find a radio. All up in my grandma's
Till next time. And until anyone else comes by, I'm just gonna jam out and play guitar. I think Cosmos is still hanging out. Are you hanging out, Cosmos? Cosmos? Is it Cosmos or Cosmos? Coesmos. We're gonna go with Cosmos for the convenience. And also, we're just going to see how today ends up going, because, well, there's a few things. One is I've definitely got to be somewhere in, like, an hour and a half. The other thing is that I kind of want to get on the bike. Do some sort of a workout between now. Oh, I have to leave at like 2. I gotta go for a drive. I gotta go for a nice drive later. Oh. Oh no. Sudden realizations. Oof. 1 second. 1 second. Sudden realizations have me forgetting about Fridays. Fridays are the one day in the week where I don't usually have a car. And I need to take quite a bit of a drive. So if I don't have a car and I need to take a drive, well, darn, right? Oh. Uh-oh. Yeah, I don't have a car. Creative thinking back at 4:30. That doesn't work for me. That doesn't work for me. What works for me? See, this is my problem that I need to solve. But at the same time, I need to message my boss. Alright, we'll see. We'll go from there. What to say? What to say, what to do? To anybody who's tuning in on the live stream, to anybody who's tuning in on the YouTube, that's a better one. To anybody who's tuning in on the YouTube, thanks so much for being here, or even just the replays in general. My name's Aiden, this is Studio Raphael. You know, the goal here is be with other creative individuals, talk about music, talk about art, benefit ourselves through one another. You know, this is a collaborative process. And also, you know, a really big part of Studio Raphael for me is giving back to the community as well. While I'm not necessarily in the space to do that yet, it is something that I plan in the long term. And, you know, I get there eventually through the support, the love, the friendship that comes from everybody who comes through the studio. So in that, thank you for being here. Thank you for taking the time to tune in and hang out and support the stream and support me. You know, it means a lot. This is a really important venture for me, the studio. It's something that I've wanted to do for a really long time. You know, whenever I was going from place to place, I was doing some moving and I was always like, I need a studio in my home. I need a studio here. I need a studio there. There was just always this idea for studio in the back of my mind. Studio something. I had so many different ideas. I had so many different names. And then eventually, you know, we'll get a little real for a second here. My life was in a dark, difficult place, and I turned to God and I said, look, I need help. And life just started giving me these situations of synchronicity that kind of just came out of nowhere and seemingly came out of nowhere in ways that just really helped me set myself on a positive path. And from there, you know, the name Studio Raphael came about. the experimenting and the exploring of what the studio brand is, the getting back to feeling more like me, all of that has come sort of in this last 2 years. And if you tune into the old videos, anything that's in the past of Studio Raphael, you know, I've talked with somebody about maybe taking some of the videos down, and maybe that's something I could think about or do. So, you know, depending on when you see this, maybe all the videos are there, maybe they're not. But I see it somewhat as like a catalog of my experiences towards this point. Where, like, you know, there'll come a day where Studio Raphael is more well known, and that's cool. But in that, you know, people might say, oh, he did it overnight. What the heck? Overnight success. We'll see when we get there, you know. But, you know, this process for me getting to this moment started 7-8 years ago. I tried university. At university, I started producing music. I started playing around with music more. I think I was like 19, 20. I started guitar at 18. Started learning Logic at about 19, 20. Started producing and making my own music around the same time. Basically, you know, I left university at the start of my 3rd year. A year later, went to Vancouver Film School, studied sound design for visual media, interned at a music studio for 8 months, which just didn't work out. After that, I needed to make money, so I worked at an art supply store for a year, which I personally didn't enjoy, and it didn't end on the best terms, if I'm being honest. But it was an experience that was nonetheless important to me. It was an experience that was nonetheless important to me. And then when I wrapped up that job, I found myself working in a post-production film studio doing 6 months of post-production audio. And that was kind of a nightmare, not gonna lie. It was really long days, long hours, excessive amounts of work, kind of pushed to the bottom of the bucket, basically just being, I got abused. I got really hurt by the industry and by people of the industry, and it was difficult, and I asked for a week off, and my job got put on LinkedIn, and then I got told a day later. And that was really the time where, like, I looked at my life and I was like, did I really just, like, study and work so hard and practice and learn about music and art and sound and all these things just to hit this? And that's when I, you know, around that time, or exactly at that time, I remember it almost like it was yesterday, I decided to go take a little trip out to the Sunshine Coast, and I spent 2 nights in the woods by myself. And a cool story, I guess, is that, you know, that night I took a moment and I reached out into the universe basically, and I was like, please just show me a sign that this is where I'm supposed to be and this is what I'm supposed to be doing and all that. And like, so there was a series of 3 things. The first thing I saw, I believe, was like a really small shooting star. And I was like, okay, that's pretty good. That's a good start. But I still don't feel like that's it. So I pushed a little more, and then shortly after that, I saw something that kind of looked like a shooting star, not really, but it might have just hit the atmosphere and exploded or something, but I just saw it like flash and then kind of disappear. And I was like, okay, that's also pretty good, but I still don't feel it just yet. And like, I felt this sort of pressure, tension building inside of my body, and I was like, I need something. And kind of shortly after that, it was the biggest shooting star of my entire life that I've ever seen, like, went way across the sky. Like, all the way across the sky. And, like, in that moment, my entire body just released. Like, I just felt this cathartic release. And I was like, okay, this is it. That's it. I'm in the right place. God's watching out. I'm doing the right things. I'm following the right path. And now all I got to do is trust. And since then, it's been this deepening of trust, this deepening of surrender, of really, truly finding the present moment and creating something that I feel is worth sharing and worth giving my all to, and something that I feel can really make an impact, not just in my life but in the lives of others. And every time somebody comes by here, and every time I get to give a piece of feedback, every time I get to share something fun or something funny, and when we get to share a laugh and share a moment, those moments can mean a lot, not just to others, but to me as well. It's the interaction and the joy that I get from uplifting others in their creative pursuits that keeps bringing me back here, even if it's just an hour at a time. It doesn't need to be for a long time, but there's always kind of been that push underneath me that's like, just get back on stream, just be with people. It's not about the money. So many people turn everything into a money pursuit. And don't get me wrong, if I had the money, I would be doing incredible things with it. And I know it. Absolutely. But for a long time, I made it about that moment. And when I asked myself, and there's a video on my YouTube on this, and if I would ask myself, if I was given all the money in the world right now, would I know what to do with it? And I didn't. And not only that, but having all the money in the world wouldn't change how I felt. It wouldn't change who I was. It wouldn't change the fact that I still wasn't fully being the individual I needed to be in order to ground Studio Raphael into reality. Like, money can't change the way that we think necessarily. It can alter our thinking patterns, but having money, if you've got issues, what they say, that money just basically makes those issues 10 times bigger. You see people who win the lottery, and instead of doing something good with the money for themselves, they end up blowing it all on a habit or on something else, just on vicious spending, because when you're not used to having money like that, you're used to having less, then your mind is going to trick you into creating that circumstance again, and you're going to lose it all or whatever. The point being, money doesn't solve problems. What solves problems is working through the root cause in our mind that creates the effect from the cause. Focus on the cause. Too much focus on putting band-aids on the effect. Too much focus on doing medications that, numb out the pain and that just turn us off. And it's not healthy I don't even like the word coping. It's not healthy healing. It's not properly looking at the traumas and the pains and the things that are preventing us from fully showing up as who we are capable of being. And I would just hope that by going through this process myself, by pushing through my traumas and my pains and my struggles, people can judge all they want for as long as they want, but I would just hope that by facing these things in my own life that I can inspire others to do the same and to show up as their highest, fullest potential. Like, you've got a highest, fullest potential, and I believe in it. That's why I'm here. That's why I give the free feedback, is because I see that potential in everyone and everything. And the more I can do that for others, then maybe the more I can receive as well. because the more I can receive, the more I can give, and the more I can just deepen my ability to do and be and share the studio with others. And in that I don't know if it's possible to rid the world of trauma. It's not about saving the world is also the thing. Like, I think for a long time I embraced that attitude of, like, I have to save the world. And then I realized it was just about saving myself. And now I'm learning to do that. And next it's about showing up as that individual that feels good and feels positive and feels saved, so to speak. And from that space, inspire others to do the same, simply by being and feeling good. Speaking of which, I need to fix my posture. But yeah, that's kind of, that whole thing is where we're at the moment. So 2 years later, trusted my gut. I now work with a great boss and in entertainment. I enjoy doing my serving work and getting to know more people. I get to come on stream and interact and have a great time here with friendly friends and talk about music. I got music lessons. I just, my life is in such a different space than it was 2 years ago when I was seeking for affirmation and approval from the world around me rather than finding it from within myself first. And since doing that, it's taken a lot of work. I've needed to find the confidence still. I've needed to make the mistakes and learn from my mistakes and grow from my mistakes. Absolutely. I don't think I'll ever stop doing that. But I've made enough mistakes and have corrected enough mistakes to be able to get to this point where the baseline confidence is there to be able to show up and not overthink it. And it took me 2 years to reach that point. Technically, it took me 14 years to reach that point. Because I started basically therapy when I was like 14 years old. There was a lot of trauma that got encoded into me due to a tough teenagehood. I think I put on a face for many years when I was 17, 18 or so. I kind of learned how to act strong, act tough, and be pretty. But I wasn't happy. And really since, it was when I started to meet myself and I started to do the work and face my toxic relationships and toxic habits and whatever else, and really take the time to work on those, that I was able to come out on the other side with a better perspective of who I am and what I have to share. And when you know who you are and what you have to share with the world and with others, then, the negative opinions of others don't affect you as much. Because it's like, you go out there and you do something that you feel full from, and then you just get somebody's energy that's like trying to drain you, trying to take it away from you, and it's just being like rude and pessimistic. And it's like, if you feel that sense of love and positivity within you, then immediately when other people are just trying to bring you down for the sake of bringing you down. And if that's the case, you got your boundary, you got your wall, you're like, look, man, thank you for the feedback. I'll take from it what I actually find valuable, but the attitude can go. And you can focus on, learning. Absolutely. Learn from everyone and everything. That was like one of the biggest lessons that I had to learn. Was like, when I started taking responsibility for my frustration and my anger, that was when things really started to change for me. Like, my anger towards somebody who doesn't know I'm angry at them doesn't affect them. It only affects me. So, if the outer world is just a reflection of the inner world, then anytime I express a judgment, anytime I express a frustration or anger or anything that seems to belittle or put down another individual, that starts from me. So instead of just projecting outwards and looking at people and saying, oh, why is that person that? Why is that person that? Look at myself first, notice that I'm having that behavior and say, well, why am I judging that person in the first place? Who am I to judge? And then from there, you can actually find the root cause of where your judgments are coming from, why you're judging people. And you can purify that aspect of yourself. So that way, no matter who you meet, it's just you approach them in a space of love and understanding and being like, you are who you are, where you're at for your own reasons. And I'm not here to meet you with my expectations. I'm here to meet you with who you are and where you're at. And hopefully by meeting you in the present moment, being present myself, you're able to see in me more of what you desire to see in yourself, which allows you to become inspired enough to be able to take action for yourself to create a better reality. You know, it truly is simply about inspiring. You can't force people to change. You can't force people to learn. You can't force people to do anything. People are very stubborn, and I think that's a good thing. I think being stubborn is a very good thing unless that stubbornness becomes based in an idea of reality rather than who you truly are. The innate stubbornness that is in all of us, I believe, comes from a place of all of us having a unique perspective and idea of reality. And that is like the God-given will in us that doesn't want people telling us who to be and how to live. Like, we have an innate desire to express our individuality. Just trying to serve it. Thanks. We have an innate desire to express our individuality. Having our own set of boundaries, being stubborn in who we are, is our way of telling others, look, I appreciate your opinion, but you don't have a say in that which I create and who I am. You know, gladly take the time to collaborate, cooperate, of course, but knowing who you are and all of that is key. And embracing who you are and all of that is, you know, also key. Know who you are, find who you are. Carry yourself like a horse between the flames into the fires of Pangea. Fly. Which, you know, brings us all to here, and that's that. So with that being said, I think that's kind of enough for today, honestly. I don't think I need to go much over that. MacGray, man, thank you for popping by. Cosmos as well for a little bit. Always a pleasure to be here. Always a pleasure to share. Today is just about, you know, showing face. It's just being consistent. It's just being here and sharing moments and hanging out. And from that, we get to create the essence of Studio Raphael. We get to build community. We get to share positivity, love, light, whatever else. All that in that realm of good times. My name's Aiden. This is Studio Raphael. Thank you so much for tuning in. Hopefully, if you're seeing this on the YouTube, you know, leave a like, comment, subscribe. If you missed the stream, I hope you're able to make it to another one. It'd be nice to, you know, hear your music, hear what you're working on, get to know who you are, and share in the essence of our creativity. So, yeah. Till next time, thank you so much, and hopefully I'll see you around the studio sometime. Take care.